Peace, peace, peace. Yes, yes, yes. Hold on. Give honor to the source, give honor to the creator, to all ancestors known and unknown. Oh, they ain't trying to get y'all no peep show. Anywho, shout out to you. Those of you on a journey, wherever you are on your journey, give gratitude. So, y'all about to get a 2-for-1 special. I usually don't do this, but hey. It is what it is. So, telling me, I'm just getting a lot of stuff purging up, and I just like to communicate it. I love speaking. Shout out to those who came out of that place where, you know, your voice was silent, or you were shunned, or your childhood woundings were preyed upon. Shout out to you that are being authentic in every aspect. That shit's scary. It's scary because we were taught to be afraid of these natural gifts that we have. And that gift could be speaking, artistry, dancing, you know, to the simplest things, writing, music. Like, I don't care wherever you are wherever age you are, you still can do it. Your inner child is still calling out. No one is in your way. I've had to create videos in hotels where I didn't know where I was the next day. I didn't know where I was going to get money from to create another video. I had to create art in spaces where, in hotels, to just try to eat and do something. And I'm not saying this for a pity party. It's just, it's beauty in honoring your journey. Now you put on the magical glasses. But anyway, it's beauty in, but it's beauty in authenticity. So really, it takes a lot of strength and courage. Learning to grant yourself that grace again to even prepare for the naysayers, the ones that love you or say they loved you the most, whether family, friends, or whatever, even your spouse, your partner. A lot comes in with the fact of standing in your truth, mirroring that being mirrored, mirroring that and that be reflected. And it's a lot of purging that's happening. You know, I get a lot of insight and I just come to share with y'all, like, just get right into it. It's like, you know, the healing journey will have your ass facing the parts of you that you wanted to run from. Let me say that again. The healing journey that people want to boast about, and you see a lot of ego-driven, oh, you got to do this spirituality, you got to eat like this, and you got to go on Dr. Sabi's diet, you got to meditate, you got to yada, yada, yada. And if you don't do that, you're not aligned, you're not chosen, you're not anointed. You smell that? I smell bullshit, because that's what it is. So, in actuality, because we've all been living in fantasy until you get actuality. You get the universe be like, psh, 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 spiritual journey, psh, 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 healing journey. I thought I healed this. Universe is like, you ain't done yet. Because it is a lifelong journey. I have my moments. When I say my princess reflects back to every unresolved, not just her. And that's what I want to speak about. It's like the healing journey is a lifelong journey. That shit will have you facing your shadow. And your shadow ain't no, how could I say this? It's like, imagine a huge warehouse or a building, abandoned building. You are the abandoned building, meaning that that building could look so good on the outside, painted, top T, you know, all that. But you know those of you that know, like, you walk past some warehouse, you be like, man, I wonder what's in there. And the first thing we assume is like, oh, I bet it's haunted. And we immediately, sometimes wherever you are, it's like you like tense up, like, man, I ain't going there. You're scared. You're afraid of the unknown. You're afraid of yourself. You're afraid to go look inside to see what's really there. That's you, that abandoned building, because you abandoned you. Not to say you didn't. See, a part of that shadow and what's in there are your abandonment issues. What's also in there is self-betrayal. What's also in there is self-abuse. What's also in that building is parts of you that you have been neglecting. See, that's a polarity to this, and I ain't finna shoot the shit with y'all. You have, yes, what people did, yes. Yes, I'm not discrediting what they did. But you also have you, the parts of you, the inward wounds, the inner wounds that the Most High, the Creator source, is telling you, like, okay, you keep pointing what everybody else is doing, but when are you going to take accountability for all this stuff in this building? See, that abandoned building also holds your natural abilities, your gifts, your spiritual gifts, the magic in who you are, the mystery, the untold stories, the childhood traumas, the relationship that almost took you out of here. See, the reason I can say that is because because I gotta, like, I can't shoot the shit. Let me tell you how pain can not only just affect you, but others. There are going to be women that see my videos and the women that I've dated. And this is for my own shit, my own. Due to the parts that I abandoned, due to the parts of me that I was living out, constantly saying mama this and, what they want to deem as mommy issues, or the unresolved things within myself at the time that I wasn't consciously aware of, that I was unconsciously projecting my pain, my fears, my everything onto women who at that moment we probably both didn't even realize, knowing our worth, knowing our value. So that being said, are you ready for this? I give gratitude that they made it out. I give gratitude that I made it out. I didn't just survive me, they survived me. I'm talking about the abusive version of me, that when I abused, I realized that I too was self-abusing myself. Hurt people in the sense of the fact of how I now becoming more aware is that seeing why I was portraying or acting that behavior out in such a way because of the rage and the pain and the fear. And still at that time, like, this is reality of talk, not the current reality, but the reality of me giving y'all, like, the fact of what our young boys, men go through, so y'all can relate and connect to us more on a deeper level, because a lot of them haven't connected to their wounds or the aspect of themselves that are what makes them limitless, because they're running from the pain but want to portray an image of but it's really like inside. So that came to me. It's like I give gratitude for the women, and I respect myself now to where I can see if some never wanted to speak to me again, I can honor and respect that, because I've been in positions on the other end of the spectrum, or on the other end, to where there's certain people I can, whether they honor or respect it or not, I can see exactly why where I'm at with myself now, why I want to protect my energy, why I want to protect who I am, my well-being, mentally, physically, emotionally, being that um, those things that I did experience, some people don't make it out of. Y'all know of people, whether it be addictions, whether it be, you know, just a lot of things people going through that they don't talk about. Because when you look at depression and all these things, or that depression, suppress, repress, pressure, a lot of things that are built up and people don't have or feel safe, so they fear speaking out about it. So I give gratitude because I had, again, repressed emotions can look like, or memories and thoughts that we want to just put away. A lot of things come up, could come up sporadically. It don't matter the age. Had I not acknowledged the fact of being deep down knowing that I wasn't a violent person, but at the time not understanding, comprehending why I acted the way I did. And so to even come into that awareness, I had to learn and dive deeper into myself. I had to go to seclude myself. And sometimes it was a balance between being and interacting with people, because that's the thing, it's a balance. You got to interact with you just as much as more as you interact with others. So again, the beauty of the growth of the maturity it takes, the consistency on this healing journey, again, that shit will have you facing parts of yourself that you wanted to ignore, that you wanted to brush up under the rug, that you wanted to look over, and it surface in ways that it haunts. That's the thing about it, haunts you. And that's the thing about the abandoned building, is that building for some of us can be huge. Sometimes that building could look beautiful, like I said, like an abandoned house or some building. It's like, but it's so many things in there that if you look at how humanity is, or if you look at the human experience, it's like some people, due to their own subconscious experience or fears or whatever, they will never go into the building. Meaning they could care less about getting to know you or wanting to sit down and really go in there with you or shine light. Because that's what sometimes we unconsciously do when we're in partnerships or connections, is that someone can come in at a place where their light is more vibrant. And this is how I feel like things karmically happens with a lot of people, is that some people can be in a darker place. Sometimes we come to show people that light, to remember who they are. And that's where you can get it unequally yoked, in a sense, because you may know who you are more than this person may know. It's not that they don't know who they are, but you can see, you are more aware of that, your growth. And am I in something where the light, is my light being dim? And sometimes unconsciously we don't even become aware of that because of what has been projected onto us when we were young. We're talking about learned behavior patterns from parents who, or caregivers of people who never knew what it was to really embrace their shadow or the abandoned parts of them. So if they are having or have had to suppress their emotions and feelings and push aside the memories that has caused them pain, then there's a fear there. So what that does, it pours out into those that are nearest to them. Not to mention that things that they have faced or unresolved traumas in their experiences, where they don't even face the people that they need to sit down and have uncomfortable conversations with. Because that's another part of suppressed emotions, is that People avoid conflict. And conflict doesn't always got to be physical. Conflict can be the fact of you speaking up and that interaction, whether it be an argument or something, having to happen. See, that's the thing about humanity right now, is that you see the incline on trying to push a narrative of fear and division, in the sense of like, um, you see a social decline on how people really interact like with each other, because the world has been divided, and that comes with fear and love. And so if the world hasn't really inclined or pushed the narrative of loving self and loving each other, you wouldn't see so many people not trying to, well, avoidance. That's why you see so much avoidance. And what it really is, divinely orchestrated, is how it comes back into balance, to where we're forced to see ourselves. In that healing journey, man, I'm telling you, that's the thing. My partner and I was talking about it. Like, it's scary, because when you're talking about planning something, or you're talking about doing something, and it's unfamiliar to the patterns that you're used to, which again, how can we really say has value if it's not something that we love to do? If we don't feel safe in it, if we don't feel secure, if we do not feel embraced, appreciated, and celebrated. You're talking about going to these jobs or environments and going to these places where we're not celebrated for our authenticity or really being who we are. So the beauty of all of this is seeing how all of this is orchestrated, divinely orchestrated, to where we're we all are being faced to see the ugly parts. Had I not went through the abuse, recycled the abuse, I wouldn't be who I am speaking about the abuse. How can I have come to you and speak about the things that I haven't experienced? I cannot speak from others' experience. I can only speak from my own. I can only project outwardly to you from my own experience. Whether that be judged or ridiculed or whatever it is about it, I have gotten within myself to be at peace with that. And so I'm able to recognize those who aren't in peace, have made peace with those things. You can see that demonstrated in behavior. And I'm not sitting here trying to paint the picture like, well, I'm painting the picture like literally new canvas. I'm painting the picture literally of my life. I'm the author. But what I won't do is let others come and try to paint the picture for me. That's the thing that goes with when you really sit and ponder on your life. Who have you outside of, and I'm talking about societally, work related, anything, all these things that you see and fall apart. Who? Because we know the Most High to create all of this is being divinely orchestrated, but outside of your decision making, who has been painting your picture? So getting to that, again, these subjects, the fact of like, shout out again, big ups to all of you that are coming out. And some are going in, but some of them that are coming out of the shit that no one gets, that no one could possibly. You can write a book, but it still wouldn't serve the justice. That's just like my paintings. No one painting is the same, but it's all a representation of the versions of me. Like, that's why certain things doesn't resonate anymore. But again, it's going back to the fact of how the healing journey will have your ass facing versions of yourself that not only you thought you can run from, but the versions of yourself that you had no idea that was still there. And what does that look like? The versions of myself, like different versions of myself where I felt unsafe. And these versions don't go nowhere. That's what I was getting into. It's like I had talks with my partner about like, you sit down with people and it really took a lot to even get to this place to let and her know like, certain things that we have went through or certain people, um, I don't feel safe with, around, or in their presence. And this is solely because I've gotten to a place within myself where a lot of people don't know what this looks like because you're talking about a people pleasing society or attention seeking society or, you know, environments where suppressed emotions is like, and pride is held to a, you know, or ego is held to a higher extent rather than like love, self care, um, being self sufficient, being stable and secure within, rather than this false persona or narrative of, or this false positive imagery that we just only see on social media, rather than you not knowing what the fuck going on in their household, you're not knowing what they do daily. So, um, having those, uh, whether you agree or disagree, I'm still going to speak my truth conversations. And some of us, and this is why I get on here, because I had to express to her, like, I express because, again, like, and there's a difference where I was telling someone explaining and expressing is not the same, because it's like an overexerting ourselves when we explain or feel the need that I gotta explain to you why I'm doing this. But if I'm expressing it, it's completely different. And some of us aren't aware of this, and I'm sharing it with you because I was there, where I felt like I had to explain, well, I did this and did this and did this. But my authentic self, my true self, or my natural nature, to which I gradually through my healing journey had to recover, is I'm going to express this. And the feeling safe and secure starts within, but it's also creating an environment where I can express this. There's no attachment to it. And more so, like, it's not gonna always be pretty, y'all. Like, and that doesn't mean like it's because I've learned, even with reflecting on my past and reviewing a lot of things, I also, when you get to a place within yourself, it when you start to when one starts to really recover aspects of standing in your truth and how that looks, um, you're talking about doing the complete opposite of what the world is doing, creating an environment or reality or a place where it looks that it's more focused on rest, peace, balancing between creating, what some of y'all may call work, but creating, um, and completely trying to, you want to erase what you have in the past, but in reality, that's truly a catalyst to, um, because we cannot erase the past, we cannot undo it. But it's truthfully, if we're able to hone in and really embrace it, it'll really be a guide for us all. That being said, uh, having those talks with, you know, because when I've been talking about a lot of repressed and suppressed. I expressed to my partner, how how you can just depart or leave a connection or relationship or anything or move forward in life, and a lot of what you hear as baggage are those either repressed emotions or things that we suppress, which is actively pushing the pushing the memories and thoughts and pain, pushing it down or away so we don't feel. So we become numb, and then we get into these connections or partnerships where there's no type of interaction or things where we just naturally, as soon as something happens, we shut down immediately. Because this, again, this is due to a lot of behavior. This is due to a lot of things we've learned and programmed to believe. So in unlearning that, you have to, it's not so much go back, but reverse the aspect of what you learned. So unlearning that or letting that go, those things have to come up. Those things have to be faced. And who can only face that? You. You in whatever partnership. And I'm not saying you have to do it a specific way. The healing journey looks different for everyone. The spiritual journey, it looks different. That's what makes it so unique. Because you see how, now, what's that? I saw that it says being, at one point in time, being fake was the realest thing you could ever be. But now trying to be real, be spiritual on the healing journey, all that, now it's so popularized. And some of us that already been doing it already knew this was going to come. That's why you try to see corporations and certain things try to join the bandwagon. But that's the beauty of how it's like God or the creator will use, I shall, what is that? That verse is like, I shall set a table before in the presence of your enemies. Do you see the polarity on how energy goes out, it comes back? And even in how it goes out and come back, it still has to reveal itself the same way it went out. That meaning how if things we have repressed and if we have consciously suppressed it through the actions of doing things that we know that isn't fulfilling or whole, it's going to come out through emotions. It's going to come out through anger. It's going to, and that's why you see society want, paint this perfect image, but then as soon as someone rebuttals or do the opposite of that, it's immediately demonized. It's like we don't have a right, like research righteous anger, or the fact of, shout out to Sister Solar Rob. She talks about this in like the vibrational chart, and it talks about these emotions or frequencies or where we are, and it's like it tells you again where these certain emotions like guilt, shame, and all these things. Okay, these things has a lot to do with both repressed and suppressed emotions. A lot of us have hoarded a lot of things dealing with where we have presently in the past dealt with people who have inflicted pain. Got 10. Okay, have inflicted pain, and more so we have also been on the other end where we've inflicted pain, whether unconsciously or consciously, purposely. And so in that, we all have been on, both ends of the spectrum in a sense of like where that's why I'm so able to accept and take an accountability to where I saw someone do it. I was there, and it was both ways. And so am I really surprised of like how universally what you put out and it returns, or some may call karma? I see karma on one side, I see dharma on the other one. The beauty of the fact of like, okay, I'm here to clear these lessons. No one can outrun either or. So again, the beauty of all of it is that the fact of accountability. And no matter what we do, we cannot run from it. And whether people want to accept it, some people really, a lot of our ancestors didn't have this opportunity, or people that came before us, so they had to take it literally to the grave or to transition with it. Come on, think about that. A lot of people, that's what I was talking to my partner about. I got to stretch. Is that I was like, love, we was on our way. I said, you really facing things. We're really facing things that nobody we know presently has chosen to embrace, accept, or face. So that can be very challenging for a lot of us when we're trying to show up in the world and reintroduce ourselves like, hey, you never knew me. You may know me, whether it be your mom, dad, or anybody. You may know me, but you have no idea who I am. Literally, you have no idea who I am. And the reason I say that because when you go into that seclusion and you're on this healing journey and you're facing parts of yourself that, like, wow, hold on, I really had to get away and step away from this because I thought I was healed from this. Perfect example, like, I was apart from my partner and our princess, but apart from that, I was still interacting with people that, which I realized that interacting with my mother, my grandmother, what I realized I was going through, or the universe was having me experience, is that it was showing me how, where I learned, where the root of the dysfunctionality was. It's not to point the finger at them. It was showing me the root of the wounded mothers, the wounded women, where I learned these behaviors, where also suppressed emotions were, where also I learned my first fears, where also I learned who were my first bullies, where also I learned, and this can happen at different ages, people. And I was learning this 30, 31, 32, because there's a fear, again, around the fact of departing and being away from these people because societally, or we have grown so accustomed to being emotionally attached, which has caused our suffering because we wasn't shown how to stand in our truth and walk away. And even the fear of walking away is a fear of the unknown, not knowing what's on the other side, not knowing financially how I'm going to take care of myself. Because you're talking about a society that's solely focused externally on, money, material things. So that programming is that. So a lot of which, you're telling grown-ups, or you're telling people, oh, just go out there, make a living, go do this, go do that, and everything will be all right. You're basically, from them suppressing their own shit, they telling you because that's all they know. And they're doing stuff every day, getting up, doing stuff that they don't even love. That's keeping them in the same loop of avoiding who they truly are. Keeping them from showing up and really facing the healing and facing themselves and really living it out. So then here you come along wanting to change and face and break generational chains and curses and whatever, and want to recover your childhood innocence, want to create and express yourself unapologetically. And these same people who tell you to go out there and go get a job, do this, are the same people who project onto you their unresolved traumas, their wounding, their suppressed emotions, and telling you to do the same thing by going out there to continue the same pattern they've been in. This is what the fuck has been happening. This is until now. And so here you are telling people like, oh, I don't need to do this. And the universe taking care of me. The Most High. I've seen this in my vision. I've seen the life I'm finna live. And it looks so, what? Remember those glasses? The magical glasses. You remember the things that you've seen that they haven't. Because a vision was given to you. The conversation between you and the divine, the God or creator, was with you. It wasn't a conference call. Everybody went on a call with you. It wasn't a three-way call. Now think about that. This is the call and choose you. See, you on the mission, because that's what alignment is. See, you're in alignment with source, with the creator to be like, you're always on call. No, I ain't talking about work. I'm talking about your mission. I'm talking about your purpose here. You're always on call. Ain't no not, you know what I'm saying? And some of you that know on that healing journey, yeah, you're going to get an intermediate, like a little moment to yourself because it's a balance. But ain't no not, You came here to do this. So it's truly a balance. But remember, even when you're on call and your calling is calling you, everyone ain't gonna pick up the phone. So you gotta think about people in your life, family, friends, whatever. Everybody ain't ready to answer the call. See, answering the call looks like walking away from everybody, going to seclude yourself, not conforming to the dysfunctionality of society and people around you. No longer wanting to be around, certain things that, departed, certain things that that really doesn't give you that fulfillment, because it's a balance with everybody. Like I said, to each his own. But there wasn't a conference call. Nobody could beep in. And that's the thing about even your life right now. You have that calling, that connection, that even it may have seemed the powers that used to be might have disconnected that, but that connection to the divine has always been there. The vine, literally. See, got you that. But anywho, that connection has always been there between you and your higher source. It's your ass that keep hitting the disconnect or end button and hanging up and just going to voicemail, and God, the creator on voicemail like, hey, or hey, you still got this to do, right? Okay, now this list piling up now. This is all the generational curses that you got to do, all the stuff that you came here to do, all the things that you said you was ready to do before you get here. Now you here. These are the things your goals that you said. These are the things you said you wanted to accomplish. This mother still ain't. This how I answer spirit guides or source, God, whatever you want. This how. Y'all be talking about God patient with us, but it's us that don't got the patience. I had to learn that. That was one of the most grace and patience. That's how much grace the Creator has for us. We talking about grace. We're learning to give ourselves that grace. Our ancestors be sitting back like this, mother. God, I told her not to. You went back with Ray. You did all these things with Neek and all, or Tom and Rock. We trying to tell you that ain't aligning. But that's the beauty of it. You cannot mess this up. See, that's the thing about a mess. See, look around, look at your life. It can look a mess, but who can only clean that up? And then think about the people who are willing to come help you clean that up. See, those are the people I really hold near and dear to my heart, is because not the ones that want to run in and then they want to keep you in their stuff too. No, the ones that actually genuinely want to help and guide, knowing that they still have their own mess to clean up. See, they know their balance. See, that's the thing. A lot of us, and where I was ready to come in and create someone else's mess and not and basically take the load off myself and put it all on them, and I realized I still had to unpack my baggage. That abandoned building. All those things in there that we don't realize that it's the same, the pain, the packages in that abandoned building, those things, like, the bugs and the dark places and all the stuff that's been growing in there. See, it's beauty in those things. It's beauty in that struggle, in a sense. But you didn't come here to struggle. You didn't come here to survive. See, we bind and return it all back to center. See, that's the thing about you going inside and realizing and coming to that awareness, like, hold on. I used to get that sometimes when I used to see people in my family that had certain gifts. I was like, bro, why you sitting on that? Why you just, what you doing? And then Spirit was like, you're here to do it. And those same people will get mad or be angry at you because you're doing something similar. And in reality, a wise man once told me, a wise woman, she was like, God or the Creator will grant you a gift. And if you don't use it, it goes to someone else. Look how many people in the world that have these natural abilities, and due to their fear or stepping out in faith or showing up, whether you want to taking a risk or just simply stepping out, due to the fact that they don't want to come out of their comfort zone. And even in their comfort zone, they're truly uncomfortable with the reality that they're not fulfilled, happy, secure and at peace because it's just eating. Cause that calling keep calling. Hey, hey, voicemails. You got 3,000, 4,000, 10,000 voicemails from God, the Creator. And you out here trying to worry about what everybody else doing in their life. You focus on their calling. You focus on their fucking life. You so focused on their life that you ignoring your calling, your phone call that you need to accept. Come on now. I had to learn that I was there too. Focus on what everybody else doing but myself. Because the beauty of just being you and showing up for you is the fact of, again, on this journey, no one is going to see what you see. That takes a lot of deep acceptance. That even goes back to, again, the previous video I was telling, like, well, let me see. I know it's on 6%. 6%. Like having those uncomfortable conversations or conversations with my partner, it may not make sense now, but sometimes you gotta plant the seed and you don't receive the harvest in the same season. So that being said, it's like life is like that with people. You gotta plant the seed, say what you need to say, or sometimes your seed can just be your actions. And then as you part ways and you grow on your individually, you just realize like, hey, that's one of the most deep, challenging things upon this healing journey is that not only are you facing and coming back into looking eye to eye with the things that you wanted to hate and see that was ugly the most. That's the most beautiful aspects of who we are. See, that was parts of me I wanted to hate. Meaning that when I start to become more aware of why I learned certain behaviors, whether it was, from being verbally abused and physically, to where I start to realize like I had to make a decision where, you know what, I got to use my gift. And my natural gift here isn't to harm. It's really to heal. And how that looks is that I had to see that version of myself that I wanted to hate. I didn't want to accept that. But a part of me accepting that and embracing that, then that energy that once you face and dispel it and like let it go, it'll show up in someone similar. This is my experience. It kind of like shows up. That's what I feel like spiritual warfare is. Like it'll show up in something or someone. You will see it in another relationship. You will see it demonstrated because you faced it and made peace with it. So you'll see that energy like literally act out in something or someone similar. And the thing that comes up with that is like sometimes guilt can come up around that, sometimes shame, sometimes certain emotions can come up, even though you have already faced it and accepted it. There's still sometimes how energy can play out is to where like have I really purged it emotionally to where, yeah, I've accepted it happened. But now it's like it'll show up in other people like, oh, you remember you did this, or yada yada yada. And see, shame will come up around that. Or you feeling guilty. See, that's something that again that's inward, but it's a process. The healing journey is a process. That's why I say the healing journey is a lifelong process. It's a process of how these energies can surface within you and outwardly. Because see, it wants to make it seem like, oh, you ain't past this, you ain't do this, you ain't do that. And in reality, who's to say when and how, what the duration is? It's a daily thing to where I show up for myself. I had to now having a partner, and this is a lot of men that won't say this, or even women. When you go through one thing about not just verbal or physical abuse, one of the most challenging things is learning to touch myself with love, learning to even be touched with love. My princess, how frustrations or certain emotions come up when she want to, give me a kiss somewhere. She'll kiss me on my face, like, she'll hug me. And sometimes I'll feel like, am I worthy of that? Yes, it's that deep. Like, do I deserve this? And so that looks different for everybody. Like I said, someone who could have been verbally abused, someone can come in and be everything like, oh, I love you, I appreciate you, you're valuable. But there's an inner conflict within you that you thought you got past just because you got out of that relationship or you went somewhere. And in reality, um, that's where I tell you like how it's a journey. Like the healing journey is a process because even well, no matter your age, it's like one thing our partner did, and this goes back to the verbal abuse, is that not only are you standing in your boundaries when you're healing because you faced it, you tell this person like, hey, I will not be spoken to this way out of respect for myself because I don't talk to myself that way. And sometimes we don't even realize unconsciously in times where we are projected onto people and then ask for something in return. But in reality, it's like, do we really see both sides? Do we really see ourselves? And that's a challenge. So we put up sticky notes like affirmation, I love myself. And I notice like sometimes after I say I value, we got one that says I'm lovable, I'm incredible, I am love, or I am lovable. So you're talking about now people at 30, 40, 50, whatever your age is right now. And it's not always like peachy and cream or just so sweet because emotions come up, I feel, after that. Because it's a process and balancing the fact of like, I love myself. I can tell myself that. But then that emotion comes up to where, okay, do I even know how that looks to love myself? Then you start to really realize like, I've always loved myself. It's just the programming and what I've seen that people didn't love themselves. They didn't know what that looked like. I've always been loved. I've always been lovable. So the unlearning and the healing process and the spiritual journey will show you that those aspects and versions of yourself that you learn from other people, from your own human experience, is that you'll see how what you took on and what you soaked up and like a sponge as a child, you demonstrated. And not only did you push people out, but it was really to bring you back to yourself. So a lot of which again has a lot to do with it's a daily thing. It's not to say it's gonna be perfect, it's not gonna always look pretty. I've had moments where again, going back to my princess, I can be stubborn sometimes because I'll be like, man, I'm doing something right now. And I have to really see how I'm feeling. Because that can be repressed, or sometimes when I want to do something, I'll be like, oh no, like I'll try to block it out. And then in the past, or like how I was suppress it is like actively trying to distract myself from the phone or TV, something like that. So that's a demonstration on how those things can be operated. And this is not to say like we all are trying to do things perfectly. It's just so we come to the self-realization like you got to really be the change that you want to see to create that environment. There's things that again, you're going to deal with your spouse or partner or even people in your life that literally are a reflection of your internal world or what you're going through. But the world has like looked at it from outside in, and then the reality or actuality of it all is that a lot of which when accountability comes in, you'll realize that you're accountable for your emotions, your actions, your well-being. And so I've had moments where my princess will cry and I get so frustrated. I'm like flustered because I'm like, yo, like chill. And then you got to realize, I tell people, being a guardian or a caregiver, that shit don't come with a manual. You're talking about the healing process is the fact of you're healing, unlearning, you're resolving your traumas, all the while trying to day to day be there, show up for yourself. And it's a balance because you're trying to show up for you and show up for other people. And then what we've learned is that the we're so used to showing up for other people rather than showing up for ourselves. So a lot of people look at life as a cup being empty instead of half full or half empty, whatever you want to call it. So same thing kind of. So again, it's like when you really pay attention, it's like it's really like a lot of us. Not only am I see myself as a teacher, but I'm reteaching myself. I'm a student as well, and that's one thing I will share with anyone through all whatever you receive from this is remain a student because everyone is teaching you something. We all came here to learn, unlearn, heal. I solely truly believe to the depths is that um and I remind myself like I really be catching myself. I'll have a moment where my tone of voice may change with my princess to where it's like I immediately sometimes catch myself and sometimes later, even with my partner. Like you will catch yourself later on, you be like, whoa, hold on. Because we all process things differently. Men, we process things completely different than women. And then now we're meeting women at an emotional aspect. Come on now. I'm gonna drop this with y'all. A lot of women that will be drawn to this, young ladies or whatever. We as men have not met you or and are now meeting you at an emotional residence or aspect of who we are. Because the reason being is that you were disconnected from your emotional aspect of who you are. So we see that we saw that demonstrated where a lot of not only repressed emotions you have from your mother and grandmother and so forth that's been in you, passed through the lineage that has been, repressed, but they also experience suppressed emotions. So that suppressed emotion, and this is not pointing the finger, it's just accountability. I would not all women, but you have been affected, and all women and your daughters have been affected by your suppressed emotions, meaning that you were forced into environments or forcing yourself to do things, um, not really having this sit down with men and your fathers, really assess. Some of you didn't have the opportunity to sit down with your fathers, whether the father was removed from the home, whether the father was transition or murder, kill. It's so many things with that. And with that, you really never had the chance or opportunity to sit down with the man who helped aid in co-creating with your mother and bringing you here. And not to mention what she probably went through with men and then her mother, grandmother, great grandmother went through with men. So now we're having these talks with women. Now you're having these talks with men because your whole life you've been and that's where this um because we all and that's where this feminine and masculine energy comes in is that we all, oh shoot, let me check my phone. 3%. Okay, we on 3%. We all, and because this guy got to finish up, we all have masculine. That's where you hear people talk about feminine and masculine principle, is that if you look at you can look into your natal chart, whatever it is, or just so much of like certain signs um, hold energies of masculine and feminine energies. So that being said, some women can have and carry more feminine energy than other women, and then some men can carry more feminine energy than most men. So that being said, if you're talking about wounded individuals and you're talking about our wounded women that never really know what it was to be emotionally intelligent and now are facing who they are, their suppressed emotion, having to go out there and work and do all this and be really kind of out of position in a way which divinely is about restoring balance now. In restoring the balance, you have to restore your emotional fields, you have your emotional aspect, because that's connected to your mental, your spiritual, and all coming to the physical aspect of who you are. So you see that play out in your nervous systems. You see that play out in your pregnancies. You see that play out in your body. So if our women hasn't, really truly embraced who they are, who gives birth to the women? I mean, the men and the women. the little boys. So again, that unhealed and unresolved aspect of what you went through with your fathers and what your mothers went through with men, that has not only spiritually, emotionally, but mentally plagued our women to this very day. And so you see that outwardly expressed. And so now that we're meeting y'all at a more emotional level, rather than just a lower nature to where it's just about doing this, a lot of us are now coming into that awareness of what we have taken into account, our role. And see, this is why it's not about an attacking. The only reason why you feel attacked or to deflect is because you're avoiding who you are. You're avoiding the fact of what you learn and how you picked up and inherited your emotions and your patterns came from your mother. And then she learned that it was passed down to her. So it's not about blaming, it's about accountability. So if we can be accountable for our emotions, so can you. That's what this is about. That's what healing is. And that's a process. It does not happen overnight. That's about what it is, reversing the curse or breaking generational curses, because it's about acknowledging that on both parties, because your experience, make sure what I'm on 1%. Okay, finish this up. Your experience with women is not the same as your partner experience he had with women. See, you may have learned another way of what it is to nurture, but his way of nurturing is completely different. I'm going to make another video about this because I'm on 1%. I'm going to let my phone charge. But, peace and blessings to you all. It's a shift is among us. Take care. Peace and blessings. Shalom.